Welcome back, class 10, your civics class. Today we'll start a new chapter, chapter 4, the Union Judiciary. And under that, today we will start with the Supreme Court. Now, single integrated judicial system. We have two sets of government. We all know that we have two sets of government, one at the center and one at the state. Powers of both the governments have been well defined in the constitution. Although we have a dual polity, that means federal form of government, our judiciary is not like that. We have a single unified judiciary. In other words, all the courts interpret and enforce the state laws as well as the laws made by the Union Parliament. So, all the courts interpret and enforce laws which are made, laws of the state laws and the central laws all over India. The subordinate courts, district courts and high courts are all subject to the control of Supreme Court. He is the father court, the ultimate court. The Constitution says that the law declared by the Supreme Court shall be binding on all courts within the territory of India. It is the ultimate court of appeal. Whatever ruling the Supreme Court gives, that is the final ruling. Necessity of a Supreme Court. Necessity of a Supreme Court may be underlined thus. Firstly, India has a federal political system. The Supreme Court in a federal system has to interpret the Constitution. For the sake of stability of the federal government, it is essential that central government and state government should act in accordance with the provision of the Constitution. So, for the sake of stability, it was necessary that the central government and the state governments should act according to the provisions of the Constitution. If some dispute arises between the center and the state or between the states themselves, it has to be settled by the Supreme Court. That is why the Supreme Court is called the final interpreter and the guardian of the Constitution. Number 2, Supreme Court and the High Courts protect the fundamental rights. The purpose of protecting the rights of citizens, the Supreme Court and the High Courts may issue writs or directions to the concerned authorities. They are the guardians and the protectors of the fundamental rights. The Supreme Court gives new meaning to the Constitution to meet new situations. The Supreme Court helps the Constitution to adapt itself to the changed condition of the society. Now comes the composition and the organization of the Supreme Court. Okay. Composition of the Supreme Court. How the Supreme Court is composed. At the commencement of the Constitution, when the Constitution was formed initially, the number of judges were 8, including the Chief Justice of India. The Chief Justice of India, CJI, is the head of the Supreme Court. He and other 7, total 8. It was there initially. Parliament may by law prescribe larger number of judges. Thus, in accordance to the Act of 2008, the Supreme Court consists the Chief Justice and not more than 30 other judges. Initially, it was Chief Justice and 7, means 8 including the Chief Justice. Now it is Chief Justice and 30 others, not more than that. Delhi is the seat of Supreme Court. That means the Supreme Court is in Delhi. The court may sit in such places, such other places or places as the Chief Justice of India may, with the approval of the President, decide. That means if it is necessary, the Supreme Court may sit in other places with the approval of the President. Appointment of the judges. Every judge of the Supreme Court is appointed by the President after consultation with, very, very important, every judge of the Supreme Court is appointed by the president after consultation with the judges of the Supreme Court and of the High Courts, as the president may deem necessary. So, whom the president will discuss? The president will discuss with the judges of Supreme Court and judges of High Court. But while appointing the judge, other than the Chief Justice, and Chief Justice appointing the judge other than the Chief Justice of India is always consulted. Discussion may be done with anybody. I mean, anybody means with the judges of the Supreme Court and High Court. But while appointing, other than the appointment of Chief Justice, the Chief Justice of India is consulted. Okay. Okay. Now, the Chief Justice of India is required to consult 4 senior-most judges of the Supreme Court before making any recommendations to the President of India in this regard. So this whole system is known as the collegium system, which allows college of person, over here judges, to appoint other judges. So this is not a very easy matter. Lot of discussions with the senior most judges, lot of discussion with the president, then the appointment is given. Understood? Now, the National Judicial Appointment Commission, NJAC, Act of 2014, has established a commission for making recommendations for appointment of judges of the Supreme Court and High Court. Okay. But on 16th October 2015, the Supreme Court struck down the National Judicial Appointment of the Commission and revived the old collegium system. For 1 year it was there, then the old collegium system was revived. Now the appointment or the criteria of appointment of the Chief Justice of India, who is the head of the Supreme Court, shall be based on seniority, the senior most. Okay. Now, what are the qualifications for appointment of a judge? A judge of the Supreme Court must be a citizen of India, obviously. More than that, he must have been at least 5 years a judge of the High Court, or an advocate of the High Court for at least 10 years, or must be, in the opinion of the President, a distinguished jurist, a very good and a very able and a popular jurist. Oath of office. Every judge, before he enters upon his office, has to make an oath or affirmation that he, number 1, will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution, number 2, will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India, and number 3, will perform the duties of his office without fear or favor, affection or ill will. The oath is administered by the President of India. Question, I think once or twice it came, who administers the oath? Then the answer is the President of India administers the oath. Number 5 is term of office and removal. Once appointed, a judge retires on attaining the age of 65 years. A judge may be removed from his office by the President on the ground of proved misbehavior or incapacity. It has to be proved. Okay. But that is possible only when an address of each House of Parliament, and it is passed by the majority of the total membership of the House and by majority of not less than 2/3 of the members present and voting. Okay, has been presented to the President. That means it has to be passed. It is not easy to remove a judge of the Supreme Court or even High Court. So it has to be proved, then it has to be passed. What is the salary? The Chief Justice and other judges are paid. Such salaries may be determined by the President, and it is charged from the Consolidated Fund of India. Once a question was asked. Now, independence and impartiality of the Supreme Court. Why is the judiciary kept independent of the control of executive and legislature? The Supreme Court and the High Courts administers justice not only between citizen and citizen, but between state and citizen. Okay. Judges independence. Judges should be independent from any influence. Is essential for functioning of a democratic constitution. An independent judiciary is said to be the first condition of liberty. The Supreme Court and the High Courts are guardians of the most precious asset in a democracy, that is the people's right. They are protecting our right. So they have to be without any bias. They should be independent without any influence from the government or any other body. Their independence is ensured by following provisions. What are the provisions which ensures the independence and impartiality of Supreme Court? Appointment of judges. In appointing the judges, the President shall act recommendation to the Collegium, that is a group, headed by the Chief Justice of India. Thus, neither the executive nor the Chief Justice of India acting on its own have the full control. No personal biasness. In other words, neither political bias nor personal favoritism would play any part in the appointment of the judges. It is enhanced independence of the judiciary. Number 2, security of tenure. Very important. A judge can be removed by the president on the ground of proved misbehavior and incapacity. 100 times write the word proved. It has to be proved on an address on each House of Parliament. The word proved is very significant. It means that an address can only be presented after the allegation has been thoroughly examined by some impartial tribunal. Impartial group of people, impartial tribunal. 3. Salaries, etc. are charged from consolidated fund of India. Judges' salaries, allowances, etc. shall not be varied to their disadvantage during their term of office. Moreover, they are charged on the consolidated fund of India and they are not subject to vote of Parliament. The salaries of the judges cannot be reduced except during the periods of financial emergency. No discussion with respect to the conduct of any judge. Very, very important point. No discussion shall take place in the Parliament in respect to the conduct of any judge in discharge of his duty, except when a motion for his removal is under consideration. Very important. You see so many discussions on TV, on different channels, on different newspapers, even on, you can see the Lok Sabha TV and all. Have you ever seen any discussion or any allegation, any discussion or any regarding conduct of a judge, how this judge has given this verdict, that the judge is not competent, the judge is incompetent. Have you ever heard this discussion? No, it is not allowed. Only such discussions will take place when the motion of his removal is under consideration. The conduct of a judge cannot ordinarily be subject of a matter of discussion inside legislature. It's beautiful. Under the legislature, inside the Parliament, how the judge has conducted his duty, whether the judgment given by him or her is worth or not, we are not in a position to discuss. Punishment for contempt of court. Disrespect. Contempt means disrespect. Genuine criticism of a judgment is allowed, but nothing should be done to lower the authority or dignity of the court. The Supreme Court has the power to punish for the contempt itself. And prohibition of practice after retirement. This is important. A retired judge of the Supreme Court cannot plead any case in any court or tribunal in India. If you are a retired judge of a Supreme Court, you cannot continue your practice after retirement. Even personally, you cannot. You cannot appear in court to plead any case. This ensures that the judges, while making decisions, would not be unduly influenced by their former colleagues or superior. Because see, suppose I am a retired judge, I take a case and go and appear in the court and plead the case. The judge who is sitting, who will be giving the ruling, might be my colleague. I might be his senior. So he might do undue favoritism towards me because we have worked together. Understand? I have retired and I have appeared again in the court to plead a matter of my client, which I am not allowed. If I was allowed, if I went to plead in the court regarding a matter, so the judge will give the rule, who will give the ruling, might be unduly favorite. I might indulge in undue favoritism towards me because we were colleagues. He was my friend. Anything can happen. We work together. So I hope till now you have understood. It's very interesting. Civics is always very interesting. History is also interesting, but civics is also very interesting. Anyway, so in today's class we have learnt about single integrated judicial system, necessity of a Supreme Court, composition and organization of Supreme Court, independence and impartiality of the Supreme Court. In the next class, we will start with the jurisdiction and functions of the Supreme Court, where we will discuss about original, appellate, special leave of appeal, and things like that. Okay, so I hope you have understood. That is all for today.